Consciousness is inherently fascinating. I mean, it's something we all do. The more you think about it, the more baffling it becomes and the more fascinating.
David Hart is an extraordinary Christian intellectual and scholar. I mean, he's immensely wide-ranging. He's a philosopher, he's a patristic scholar, he's a fine linguist. He has Russian, Greek, Hebrew, Latin.
Before I came to the Notre Dame Institute for Advanced Study, I'd actually never been in a situation quite comparable to it. Simply the diversity of disciplines, of senior scholars and the diversity of disciplines gathered together, making one another's projects a weekly topic during the seminars of discussion and debate and critique has been incredibly fruitful. The Templeton Colloquium was probably the single most beneficial experience I had here. It couldn't have happened anywhere else. It couldn't have happened without the support of the Institute and the Templeton Fund. So for me, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The project as a whole was subjected to the scrutiny, the critique, the encouragement, the qualifications of a number of scholars I tremendously admire.
David has enormous breadth of understanding, and of course is just hugely intelligent, as well as being, I think, a very fine prose stylist.
What he's doing is answering very fashionable writers in their own terms, sometimes with more vigour than I've been able to manage for some years. He's not afraid to say that they're talking complete nonsense, which they usually are.
Well, the project here has to do with the nature of consciousness and questions raised in the philosophy of mind. Specifically, the way the question was posed for me when I came here was the place of mind within nature. And so the general arc of the project is from the question of the origins of the conscious self through a phenomenology of consciousness to a metaphysics and finally even to a theology. At the end of the day, every attempt, both logical and empirical, to reduce consciousness to a purely physical causality proved to be incoherent. That's not to say that one can't establish correlations between brain processes and certain cognitive functions, but the actual subjective experience of being a conscious self is something altogether different. Consciousness in itself cannot simply be the emergent result of physical processes.
I think David would assume, like me, that the physical science is only giving a very thin account of some rather limited aspects of nature. And so I think there's a full-blown return here to something like a natural philosophy and linking that to thinking about the soul and consciousness.
He returns us, I think, indirectly to a kind of more attentive mindfulness, a fuller experience of what it means to be a human being.